Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today I'm going to do a bulk pack test, another bulk pack test. It's been a couple of years since I've done one of these. When I first started my channel, that was one of the first tests I did. And what I have here are, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 bulk packs. So I'm going to split this up into a two-part video. I just kind of randomly split these up a little bit. Well, I kind of split them up by brand. So what we're going to start out with is, let's see here, we got Federal Auto Match. I've done this one before, but it's a good standard. This is an older box. As you can see, the boxes have changed. Still have a few of these older boxes, and they tend to work pretty well. I know that at some point there were a few batches that weren't doing as well as others, but if I recall, the batches I had were doing pretty good. So that's going to be one of them. We have this Browning 36 grain. It's a 400 pack. Two different Agila packs. We have the 38 grain and the 40 grain, both 500 packs. A Federal 525 value pack, the new blue champion pack, and we're going to compare it to some Blazer 38 grain, a 200 round bulk pack. And for part two, we're going to try these. It's going to be some good old-fashioned Remington golden bullets, 525 pack, 500 pack of Remington Thunderbolts. I'm a little concerned about these because from what I read, they tend to gum up, or they tend to jam up a lot of people's semi-autos, but we'll see how they do and how accurate it is. And some Herder's Target. This is a 36 grain. I don't know how many are in this pack. It's probably 500 or something like that. And then two Winchesters. We have a Winchester 333 pack and a Winchester 222 pack. I don't think there's going to be any difference between these. Let's see here. One's 40 grain. Oh yeah, there is going to be a difference. The white 333 pack is a 36 grain, and the classic yellow pack, well, limited edition pack, is a 40 grain. So we'll do these first, compare them together, and then the next video will have these. I'll try to have both videos out within a couple of weeks of each other, so you're not in too much anticipation for the results. And as far as the firearms, let me walk you over here so you can see what I'm going to be testing them with. I'm going to be using my Ruger American. This is a bolt action. I like it a lot. It's a great little 22. I've got a Leupold VX Freedom on there. It's a 3x9 that has an adjustable objective. So this one should be really nice for testing the ammo. And then one I haven't done a video with yet that I haven't shot in some time. It's a SIG 552. I love the SIG 552. I like the SIG 556. I'm really sad that they stopped manufacturing them, although I understand why. They're relatively heavy rifles, and I think the ARs is just kind of taken the market by storm, so it's very hard for other 223 rifles to compete. But this was the 22 version, and this one specifically is a heavy barreled version, so it did not come with a sight in the front. It's a much heavier barrel. I bought this one used off an individual, and I've had great results with it. So I figured for testing the ammo, I wanted one semi-auto and one bolt action, so we can see how it does out of both, and to see, you know, if it chokes up the semi-auto or anything of that sort. This one is topped. I can show you how old this rifle is because it has a Nikon P Rimfire. This is a 2x7 scope. It's not an adjustable objective. I think these were set at 75 yards at the factory. I'm almost positive about that as far as the rimfires, for the Nikon rimfires, that is. So let me go ahead, get set up. I've got my shooting table over there, my fancy shooting table with my bucket, and we've got the targets down there at 50 yards. So I'll shoot each type of ammunition. I'm going to shoot 10 rounds of each type of ammunition, first out of the bolt action and then out of the semi-auto. Both of these rifles are cleaned, and if they start choking on any type of ammo, what I'll do is I will put a patch through it. I have a patchworm system. I don't know if you all are familiar with that little cleaning kit. I think they made them for air guns and other guns. I like them because it's basically like a filament string, sort of like fishing line, I should say, that you put a little patch on, so you don't have to worry about anything abrasive rubbing up against your crown or in your chamber. It's not a great way to completely clean out your barrel, but a nice way to just sort of get some of the carbon out of there and get the chamber a little cleaner between ammunitions, to make sure that one isn't choking, because I've already dirtied up the rifle from a previous ammo that I've shot through it. So the moment it starts choking, I'll put a patch through it, and if it keeps choking, at that point we know it's most likely the ammo and not that the rifles have gotten gummed up. I mean, as it is, I'm not going to be putting a ton of ammunition through these, so I don't expect we'll have too much of an issue with that. But enough of my yapping. Let me go ahead and get set up for the first shoots and get some rounds downrange. And we're going to start out with the auto match, Federal Auto Match. Now, although I call this a accuracy test, it's really technically a precision test. This video isn't to see how well or how close I am hitting the bullseye. That would be accuracy, how close you are to the bullseye. What I'm trying to see is precision, how well these ammunitions group. So it doesn't really matter where they hit on the target. I'm really checking to see how tight those groups are, because accuracy, you can always adjust your sights for accuracy to put the point of impact on your point of aim, or should I say put your point of aim on the point of impact. It doesn't matter, one way or the other. But here we're just trying to see exactly how well these different bulk packs will group at 50 yards out of a bolt action and a semi-auto. So we are starting with the Ruger American. I've got 10 rounds loaded. Target down there at 50 yards. And I'm gonna shoot this one at the top left target. Oof, that was quite a flyer to the left there. Now, this may be a cold bore issue with the auto match. These are the first rounds being shot out of this rifle. So we'll see how they start to group up as I fire more rounds. No, they don't seem to be. Okie doke, that's 10 rounds. Let's move on. Take the magazine out here, let the barrel start cooling a little bit for the next test as we move on to the SIG 522. I want to make sure I'm not really resting too much on the magazine as I fire, because that can cause problems with cycling. So I may have to turn my bag this way. Okay, that's 10. Next up is the Blazer, 38 grain, lead round nose. Let's see how this one does. Once again, we will start with the Ruger American. 10 rounds loaded. Go ahead, put it on the top target in the center. Ooh, high and to the left. Wow, that's not good at all. Okay, that's better. I mean, maybe the first one was a flyer. Yeah, it's grouping a lot better now. So maybe that first one was a flyer. And that is 10. Low and to the left. Okay, yeah, not great. I mean, these are bulk packs, so you can't expect target ammo accuracy out of bulk packs, but I was actually hoping for a little better than what I'm getting. But anyway, let's start up with the next ammunition. Next up is the Browning 36 grain 400 round premium performance pack. Where did it hit? Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure where that's grouping. Let's try another round. Okay, that one's on paper. . Okay, that seems to be 10. Okay, that's 10 rounds. And next up is the Federal. This is the 525, 36, well, 525 pack. It's 36 grain, copper plated hollow point. Okay, now that's 10. This one seems to have done the best so far. Oh, let's see if it does well out of the SIG 522. Okay, that's 10. And next up is going to be the Aguila 22 Super Extra Hollow Point. It's Agila Prime. This is a 38 grain, the 500 pack. I've had some good luck with Agila in the past, so let's see how it does today. Yep, that was 10. Okay. And that's 10. And the last one we're doing for part 1 of this test is the Aguila Super Extra. Okay, that should be 10 rounds. Yeah, that's 10 rounds. I pulled that one. That's 10. Okie doke. Let's get our targets and see how we did. So here we are with our targets, and well, sort of like last time, it seems that the Agila did the best, but let's go ahead and take a look at these one by one. So we have the Federal auto match, and well, like I said, this was the cold bore ammo, so it may have done a little better if I had warmed up the barrel first with a few rounds. That being said, didn't do that great. This group here of 8 is actually pretty decent, but you got a couple of flyers, and that really opens up the group quite a bit. If it was just this, you probably have, I don't know, 1.5 inches. But you open up these two here and you're getting toward like 3-inch group there. So a couple of flyers, otherwise 8 rounds that weren't too bad. Out of the SIG 522, not that good at all. You seem to have a smaller group here, 2, 4, 6 of 6. Well, maybe 7, because I only see 3 rounds here. One of these is going to be a double hole, and I'm not sure which one it is. If I see which one it is on the video, I'll put an arrow to it now. Once again, just, you know, for 50 yards, bulk pack, it's really what you can expect. you're going to get some okay grouping, but you're never going to get as great of a group if you're getting a bulk pack, in my opinion, just because you are dealing with bullet deformation. When you have a bunch of rounds just sitting in a box, those little lead projectiles are going to rub up against each other, and if it gets a little flat area here or there, that's obviously going to affect how it travels through the air and might make it tumble. It certainly won't be as consistent shot to shot. But so that was the auto match. The Blazer, let's see here, this was a 38 grain. You know, a little bit better than the auto match. This one had one flyer up here, but other than that flyer, it actually grouped pretty well. So one terrible flyer and then a nice little group there. You know, not quite 2 inches, certainly under 2 inches, but good little group. But you got the flyer. Let's see here, down here out of SIG 522, did about the same. The couple of, I guess these were the outliers here. You had a decent little group here, except for these couple of outliers. I'm not sure which one I would call the flyer. It does seem like the bullets traveled a little bit. But once again, you got a group here that's probably 2 inches, maybe a little under. But then once you put these flyers in, it opens it up to a 3-inch group. Then we come to the Browning. And the Browning I thought was doing great. I couldn't see where the first shot was, and then I realized that's the first shot there. So the first shot was a horrible flyer, but then after that they seemed to group up okay, about the same as the other two, maybe a little, I mean, if you put the flyer in, you've got a 5-inch group here. So with the flyer, it's awful. If you take the flyers out of all of these, they're doing about the same, but you know, it's hard to ignore a flyer that is that bad. But the rest of them grouped okay. It actually shot better out of the SIG 522. It seemed to group a little bit better. Not a great group. Once again, you got the kind of the outliers here, and then a smaller tight group there. Then we move on to the Federal. This one was the 36 grain, and it actually did nice. No serious flyers. They didn't group great, but at least they stayed consistently in one area. And when you shoot it out of the 522, that's where it did terribly. I don't know if it's just 36 grain ammunition that the 522 doesn't like. That's a possibility. As I've said in many of my videos, 22 long rifles are the most pickiest firearms there are. So if you have one, you really need to figure out what type of ammo it likes before you decide which one to sight it in for. But oh yeah, that's right, and this was a flyer here. Oh no, this is the flyer here. So out of the 522, it did terrible. Huge group here, probably 6 inches if we put this flyer in, and I'm pretty certain that was a flyer out of this group. And I mean, I hesitate to call it a flyer because it seems like they were all flyers. You had maybe somewhat of a grouping here, and then everything else spread out. So, you know, it did very well out of the Ruger American. If you have a Ruger American, this value pack might be for you. If you got an old SIG 522, stay away. Does not like it. And that moves us to the Agila. And the Agila did very well. And that was my experience in my last bulk pack review. I mean, look at that out of the Ruger American. That's a decent little group out of 50 yards. I mean, it's not target grade ammo decent, but for a bulk pack, you can't really ask for more than that. That's really nice. Almost all in the red here, a few outside, but good little grouping for a bulk pack. And once again, this one here is the, what is it here, the 38 grain. And then out of the 522 as well, those 2 grains made a big difference, because once you get a slightly heavier projectile to a 38 grain, look at that, it did nice. A decent little group, kept them relatively tight. And that's the same for the 40 grain. Obviously the point of impact is going to be different because you got different weights. I mean, that's a good example here. Same firearm, both times aiming at the center, but 38 grain was hitting dead on, 40 grain was drifting to the left. So you have to figure out what your firearm likes and then sight it in for that. Here you have a decent little group, probably a little wider than that one, but considering there's always a little bit of user error, as I say in all my videos, user error is always a possibility. That being said, I try to take good, calm, steady shots, and if I do feel like I've jerked a shot or I've pulled a shot, I always try to call it out on camera, not just for my viewers but for myself, so I know that particular round I pulled. And I did pull one round, Was it here? I think it may have been this one, but I'll have to go back to the video and watch. But either way, the Agila 40 grain out of the Ruger American, nice little group. Out of the SIG 552, not bad. Once again, on the 552, it seems to like the heavier. It's hard to tell. These two aren't terribly different, but this one is a little tighter. As you can see, the rounds kind of stuck together a little bit more. My SIG 552, at least this particular one, really seems to prefer heavier bullets, and the 40 grain is going to do slightly better than the 38 grain. And oh man, 36 grain does terrible. So in the end, it looks like once again the Agila did the best. Federal and Blazer, you know, it depends which rifle you're talking about. If you're talking about the Ruger American, probably the Blazer did a little bit better, except for that flyer, but the Federal did well. The Automatch did not do that great. It just did not do that well this time. Out of the SIG 552, although, you know, they don't make them anymore, so I'm not sure many people are going to watch this trying to get information on which type of ammo that particular rifle likes. But I just wanted to use it because, like I said, I wanted one bolt action and one semi-auto, just to see if any of these ammos choked up a semi-auto. But as far as that goes, they all ran fine. I didn't have any problems. They all cycled perfectly. So that did not end up being an issue. But as far as precision, once again, for the SIG 552, it looks like the Agila really took the cake with, strangely enough, well, I want to say the Browning, but I think that was a flyer. So that really makes me hesitate. I think I would say, it's kind of hard to tell, because even between the Blazer and the Automatch, they're very similar. But certainly the Agila takes the cake for both rifles at this time. So if you want my opinion on which value pack to buy, that's a tough one, because once again, your 22 Rawlings rifles may not like what mine like. But as far as consistency, both of my rifles seem to be more consistent and shoot the Agila better. I really did want to do both videos today and go ahead and shoot the other 5 packs I have, but unfortunately it is getting just a little too breezy. And if I'm going to do a 22 ammo test, I like it to be calm so that wind is not a factor in how precise the bullets are hitting. So I'm just going to have to wait and do that one later. So I apologize. This one will be posted, and part 2 may be posted maybe a month down the line, but I will try to get it filmed and out as quickly as possible. So thanks for watching. I hope everyone is out there doing well, staying safe, and I will see you in the next video.